What's going on? It's your man, Tim Jackson. This is the No More OGs podcast. I am your host. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Do me a favor and be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share, because there's not too many podcasts having these types of conversations with real people that you can actually meet in real life who ain't going to sun you when you ask them for a photo. But no, check this out. I'm here with someone that I've known for about a decade now. We came up in the same city. I've watched him grow and grow his platform from literally the ground up. He's doing some amazing things. I've had an opportunity to speak at an event that he and a few other gentlemen put on. It was an inaugural conference, so we'll talk about that once we get inside of the interview. But I want to present to some and introduce to others Mr. Andre Broussard. What's going on, my guy?
What's up, man? I like how you did that, like we in church. Present to some and introduce to others.
You know how they did in church? We want to present to some. First giving honor to God, who's the leader in my life. You know that long introduction.
Yes, sir.
But yo, man, I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming. I just had an opportunity to partake in a conference that you and your company and some other gentlemen put on. But I want you to tell the audience who you are, where you're from, and what you're about, so that they can get to know you before we dive into this and I get you into a little trouble.
No, for sure. No, my name is Andre Broussard, founder of Black Menswear. Black Menswear is actually it's a media platform focused on changing the narrative of Black men. Right, we focus on changing the narrative internally versus externally. Right, I always feel like I gotta say that because people are like, "Are you trying to say make us like?" No, I'm trying to make us think about ourselves in a mindset of excellence. Right. When we think of ourselves in a mindset of excellence, and a lot of the other stuff that goes around won't happen no more because we've changed our mindset. We won't allow ourselves to fall into those traps.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that because, when Black people start saying that out loud, then it becomes like a bootstrap message. Oh, you trying to change us. No, player. Actually, yeah, I am trying to change. I'm trying to change the outcome. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you good.
Because I was feeling that. But keep going, brother.
I am trying to change us, right? So I'm from Houston. My dad's Marine. My dad spent 21 years in the Marine Corps. So I actually grew up in a few different places until my dad retired. So to be honest, going back, my childhood of consistently moving is actually really what developed the person I am today, because it was a sink or swim perspective as a kid, right? I go to a new school, either I got to get to know more people, became a very personable person, or I'd be isolated because nobody knew me, right? And so for me, it was very important that I really became a social butterfly at a young age, because I didn't like being isolated, right? I like to get to know people, have friends, but that also really developed the person that I am today, where now I'm always looking for a way to help out somebody else, right? Help more people, bring more people into a positive situation about themselves, because I knew if I go back to the times where I knew if I wasn't didn't have positivity around me, it would have been a very dark childhood, just because of the consistent movements.
So first, I didn't know your dad was in the Marine Corps. My father was in the Marine Corps too.
Okay, yeah.
And you said he did 21 years, so that was a life of discipline, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
People don't really do that long. Like the Marine Corps has the lowest. What do they call it? Re-enlistment rate. Typically people do 4 and they get the hell up out the Marine Corps, man.
For my dad, I talked to him about it. He was like, man, I came from, a suburban Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's like, wasn't nothing for me there but trouble or working at the sugarcane plant. So he was like, for me to get out, he's like, I was smart, but college wasn't really something that was talked about. My parents didn't go to college. Nobody in our family went to college, right? So all of my family went to the military. I'm in that first generation of non-military goers. When we look back,
we're gonna have to talk about that too, man, because it's a new precedent. Same thing with me. My family went to the military, and then I ended up going to college. Yeah. I was, one of the first in my family to get a master's degree, and now it's like the standard is. The standard isn't to go to college. The standard is to do what's best for you. Right. But education. My last guest said, everyone doesn't have to go to college, but everyone needs to get education.
For sure. And it's where you accumulate the information that you're going to put into practice, right? And it's how you're going to put it into practice. It's one thing to go through the motions. It's another thing to learn from situations. And so I completely agree with you on that. It's funny you say that. So I was talking with my 8-year-old, and I caught myself this week. We were talking about, your future, and he's, my very bright child. And I said, so, in 10 years when you go to college, I said, well, I just want to let you know now, like, you don't actually have to go to college. Like, if you find a way to be successful before then, just know that daddy's got you and we're going to invest into that, right? But to your point, it was either, you work at forget at 18, you work at 15, 16, you work because you're providing for the family now.
Yep.
But now we're in a space to where it's like, okay, we now have gone into this space where what's your next move? Like, you need to have a next move versus I'm just gonna go work down the street. Like, what's the move? And again, to your point, level setting precedents, right? Setting higher standards for ourselves, because if not, then we're gonna fall into the same things that we've been falling into.
What Pops say on Friday, right out here?
Right.
Either work or go to school.
Yes, one or the other, right?
First of the month, rent is due. You ain't got to worry about catching no dog. You got to worry about the dog catching your ass, right? You know what I'm saying? No, it's funny because, when we talk about the imagery specifically of black men, there's this in the culture.
Yeah.
You're either a hood nigga or you a square nigga. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about this culture that I hate, because I come from, for lack of better words, the hood, right? But I was one of those guys who, people saw promise in, and I always wanted to be more than what my surroundings were. And at a young age, my I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mother and my stepfather, we traveled. Mm-hmm. Even, going to visit my father's family in California. I was on a plane every summer from the age of 5 almost until I graduated high school, going to California. Yeah. So I would see things outside of my environment and understand that, damn, there's more to life. Because all I knew growing up, Dre, was black, white, and Mexican. Yeah, right. Like in Dallas, that's it. That's all I saw was black, white, and Mexican. Right. So, and it wasn't like rich white people. It was, it was people like me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, and then when you did see the rich people, they were on the other side of town. But when I got out of Dallas and started seeing, like, oh, wait a minute, there's other people in the world. Man,
one of the biggest things that I got in the last decade, right now that I've I'm grown, I came to Dallas for college. Yeah, so I came to SMU. Yeah. All right. To your point, with being in the military, like being a military kid until my dad retired when I was 10. Then we moved to Houston. When we moved to Houston, my parents was like, "We're not moving back to where my mom was raised." My mom from the hood. You know what I'm saying? My mom's from Fifth Ward. Right.
Oh, so your people from Louisiana. My dad's family's from northern Louisiana. They're from Grambling.
My mom was Fifth Ward, Houston.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my mom from Fifth Ward, Houston.
The dirty nickel.
Yeah, the nickel, the muddy nickel. You know
the
what I'm
saying?
The muddy
nickel. My bad.
And so with us going back to Houston, they're like, well, we're not going there, so we moved to Cypress. All right, so Cypress, and you take it now. Cypress now is much more,
a little bit more diverse.
Yeah, now. We talking 1999, 2000.
Oh, that's when you was the only black kid in every class.
First time I had experienced that. Right, my brother. This was my brother when we were in California. Yeah. Right, my brother was a very, very good golfer in the junior PGAs. Right. 11, 12, 13 winning trophies. Mm-hmm. We come to Houston, to Cypress. He the only black kid on the golf team. Yeah. He immediately like, nah, this ain't for me. And it's not that he was the only black kid on the team. He's the only black kid on the team with rednecks. You know what I'm saying?
It's a different, people don't understand, like, the South is different. Yeah. It's a different type of people, like, that you deal with. Like, racism in the North is more covert.
Yeah,
it's more quiet. It's just like, hey, we're all for minorities and everyone. Right. We just don't want you living over here, buddy.
Right.
In the South, they let you know you a nigga.
But I came home in 6th grade and asked my dad what the Confederate flag was, because this boy had it on his shirt at school. Yeah. And one of my friends was like, "Yo, bro, you need to take that shirt off." Yeah. And I didn't know I didn't understand the context of it, and that was me and my dad had a conversation and he said, "Okay, let me tell you where we at now."
That's history, boy.
Let me tell you where we at now, because again, at that point, I had been in this global, place of military covering too. Yeah, you got racists in the military, but you immediately latch on to your people when you get there.
It's there, but it's covert. It's one of those things like, it exists, but it's more of a quiet problem, if you will. Unless you're in the Air Force, they're pretty open with it. I was in the Air Force.
So then I come to SMU. First of all, now I see classism, right? I see racism and classism. First Bentley I ever saw was on campus.
So it ain't no Confederate flags. It's kids with Rolex watches and
That had been in private school their whole life and never been in class with a black person.
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
Right? I had girls like, I'm a social person. I'm getting to know everybody. They're like, I've never had a black person in class before.
Do you play basketball?
Oh, I'm 6 foot, 135 pounds. Do I play who basketball? NCAA Division I? Do I play football? Girl, look. And that was the question that I got because apparently I wasn't supposed to be on this campus unless I was an athlete. Our black population was very small.
Extremely
and so
small.
seeing that, right? So now my mind is getting open to more things around the lanes of, okay, classism, racism. But for me, it was very important, and I even said this as a senior when me and my dad were going on I was going to visit in colleges.
Yeah.
I didn't go to a U of H or a Texas or an A&M, even though I could get a full ride because of my graduation class, as well as my dad's military.
They pay
right?
for public school.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, I want to go somewhere smaller because I don't want to get lost.
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere where I feel I can have an impact. Right, so that was the reason why I went to SMU. But then when I got there, again, just seeing things opened my mind, and it was. But for me, it was shit. Why can't we have this? You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, bro. Because that's where my mindset is. Like, once I start traveling, my thing was, why can't we have this shit in the Grove?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Where I'm from, like,
right.
How come I have to go on the other side of town to go to a grocery store that gives me service, or to go to a grocery store?
Yeah.
For that matter, you know what I'm saying? Because it's East Dallas, South Dallas, Oak Cliff is known for the food deserts, right? You got to hop in the car and drive. Like, a Walmart coming to town was huge when they put that Walmart in Oak Cliff.
Right.
But like,
that's not even a grocery store, though. Like, why we got to get groceries from Walmart? Why we don't have grocery stores? You know what I'm like? Oh yeah, sorry.
Talk your shit. So me, it's just like I had this mindset like, y'all don't see this.
Yeah.
And when I first started my mind start opening up to shit like that, Dre, the answer to that question was no, they don't see it because all they see is what they see.
Right.
You understand? Like
right.
I watched this little Scrappy video I posted on my page where he was talking to his mom about all I knew growing up was, you ran a whorehouse, you ran a dope house. I saw that as normal. And, I didn't have anybody to go to. And now I'm a grown man finding out that this shit ain't normal.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So if you can, I want you to speak to that experience at SMU and how it shaped you saying, no, we need to expose more black people. To this, man,
it took a couple of parties that I wasn't let into. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, back up. You were there in 2011, 12. No, you were there.
I was 06 to 11.
So you're telling me you weren't led into parties then?
Yeah, I was. And this is, again, we talking about Uptown. This is the rise of Uptown, right?
Oh yeah.
Uptown,
now, are you talking about on campus or off campus?
I'm both.
Because I remember going to Uptown and they're like, you can't come in with those shoes. Those are tennis shoes. I'm like, no, these are Steve Madden's. What are you talking about? Well, you can't wear a t-shirt. And I'm like, bro.
He got a t-shirt
Buddy
on
right there. Got on a whole t-shirt. Yeah.
So those experiences for me, that's why I started throwing parties. Because as a community, even at SMU, we didn't have a safe space to go and have a good time. Because we had to go to the frat party, you had to go there, or we had to go to Cirque. Ain't no wrong, like Club Blue at this time. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's.
I got
to go to the extreme just to go like we count the fights at Club Blue?
And you know what, man? Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it a buck. That's not your life experience.
That's
like going to the club and fighting. That's not what you grew up seeing. And a lot of black people, we get mad when white people place us in a box and make us, for lack of better words, one big nigga.
Yeah.
But then we do it also to each other. Like if I see someone, it's like I automatically assume that you experience this because you black. And there's a growing number of black kids who aren't experiencing trauma anymore.
I would say, right, so where I would, keep in mind, like, most of us are one step removed from the hood, right?
Yeah, so we can get back. It's a phone call away.
Aunties, uncles, holidays, like we in the hood for holidays, you know what I'm saying? And so you see a lot going on, but at that time you start to perceive it like, okay, I understand why my parents have me living here versus right. Yeah. So when I got to school and they was like, and for me, to your point, it's like, I wear baggy clothes because that's the culture. Right, but even with that, I still got a belt on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to a sense,
but even with that, I still
I'm not, it might be, you might see the top bar of my drawers, but you ain't seeing my ass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's the realest shit because, like, literally, I've never sagged. Yeah. I've never sagged. I tried to sag one time, and my stepdad.
Yeah.
He got into my ass so bad. It was like he had a way of lecturing you that just made you feel like shit. Yeah. He was an old cat from the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I never did the whole sagging shit. He was like, that's jail culture shit. Right. Nigga, you ain't been to the pen.
But see, even when they're not having that breakdown and understanding of that and passing that down, right? Just at that point, then I started seeing things where it's like, oh, this is a cool little spot. I would love to do an event here. Why can't I? Why can't my people come and have a good time? Cause I would say obviously from the time my sophomore year in college, I started throwing parties. Cause my whole freshman year, I ain't had nowhere to go. I linked up with a dude at the end of my freshman year. He like, you know everybody. I said, I know. He said, you want to get paid to do that? I said, sure do. Started throwing parties, right? Bro, I threw 100 parties. You know how many times my parties got shut down?
How many?
Bro, maybe one or two.
That's
of
good.
All of them, right?
That's good.
But there was always this stigma of, and again, that would be, people get white party. I see motherfuckers fight at some white parties, bro. But they don't shut the party down. They don't kick everybody out. They handle that situation.
Because it's always a lone wolf when it comes to white people making mistakes, and with us, it's always a group mentality. Like that's how all them niggas are. And y'all know I'm trying my best to get out of using the word nigga because I feel like there's a difference between black people and niggas. Like niggas, you know them niggas when they show up, right?
But that's kind of like a way, like, come on, Dre. You say, I use nigga a lot.
It's a mentality.
I use nigga a lot, and it's funny because my wife's family, they're from Florida. They use nigga a little bit more than we do, but all of them, the educated. Extremely educated, masters. I'm married up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lawyers, doctors, engineers. Them is some niggas. but it's to the point of, you know how you say it about people. Which is, black people as a code. We say everything with two or three different definitions. Yeah. So, but like, for me, kind of going back again to your question of the exposure around it, right? Yeah. I knew we can have elevated experiences, and if we never had them, we would never know we were missing out on.
It's funny because I remember I had some partners that threw some parties, and we even threw like our reunion. The only place that would rent to us, even in that area, right across from North Park Mall, there's like a shopping center. And I don't know if that's a Mi Cocina or it's a Mexican restaurant on the second floor.
Blue Mesa.
They were the only ones that would rent to us, bro.
So,
and we had
great experiences with Blue Mesa. Yeah. So. I was doing parties at Blue Mesa in 2008, 2009, 2010.
There was some good parties.
We had to, and that was, I ain't gonna lie, I was probably at the forefront of the whole restaurant rent out phase, because they were the only ones that would. I say, look, y'all gonna close at 9:00. What if I can bring you $3,000 to stay open for 4 more hours? Right? I bring my own security, bring my own DJ. I have it. They like,
let's get it.
And then I was like, y'all can keep the majority of the bar. Like, y'all gonna get about.
Yeah.
They was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that was the only place that we could have our own stuff, because to your point, we couldn't go around no clubs. They wouldn't let us come there.
Blue Mesa was the only place that I knew at the time that let black people throw parties.
Yeah.
And we talking about Dallas.
And we talking about 20s. Yeah, I was like, we talking about
1970s.
Yes.
You had to be like a big party promoter to be at a big club, and that was big money. Whereas Blue Mesa was like, pay us, $500.
Yeah,
let us keep the bar.
Right.
You keep the ticket sales.
Yep.
And just clean up afterwards.
Yep.
Like, that's it.
That's it.
So let's dive into that, Dre, because when people like me and you start having conversations like this, it seems like the people who have no desire to create change are our loudest critics. They're the ones who come in. I even on your platform, I get accused of being a bootstrapper. Like he one of them cats just talking about pull your bootstraps up. Like, no, I've actually been out here in these streets putting up hundreds of thousands of dollars to change my community, educate people in my community. And when they don't listen, it's just like, well, damn, like we got to have a conversation about y'all not listening. Like, why is it that black men, specifically black men, have such a hard time articulating to the black community that change needs to happen?
Man, honestly, I think it's I'm a big person on tribes. Okay. Right? What we've done with Black Menswear, we've helped brothers find their tribe. Right? I think that's really what it is. It's that in the social media age that we're in, people can get on there and say whatever they want to say. So for me,
no recourse.
With none at all, right? So for me, it did take a couple of moments where I was just like, man, what? All I'm trying to do is help people, and they getting us, because they like to crack jokes on, oh, look at these niggas going to this the brunch brigade, or this is like just because we have to flash my movements, and like for
it's
me,
just a bunch of bitter women. I said it. No joking.
You say that.
I'm not joking.
You're not joking. Like you say that, and it'd be like, what brother in here hurt you? None of us in this picture have met you, have said anything, but yet these is the niggas that don't pay their child support. Man. These is the niggas that only love white women, and they probably got 47 kids and 40 different.
I be going into them comments, bro. Let me tell you, man. I be going into them comments, and I'm like, where are these women coming up with this shit? Like, this is a brother who's literally visiting major cities, bringing men together, saying it's cool to look good, it's cool to feel good. And then you bringing your trauma into the comments, and nobody will check them on it. Like, I feel like I'm always the only person in the comments. Man, like, sis, go to therapy.
I'll say again, it was difficult for me at first to get over that. But then when I just started realizing, like, bro, it's not for everybody. Everything that's done is not for everybody.
Bro, I need you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
Okay. I need you to look into your camera and say, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, right? Everything that you do is a tribe around it that will understand it and will be able to grow from that. And that was the hardest thing for me, because I thought, man, I'm doing a positive thing for the world. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a positive thing for the world. I'm helping brothers feel better about themselves and come into safe spaces where if they don't, they got 100 other brothers that's going to uplift them. You know what I'm saying? It's going to help to help them with their foundation. But why are people mad at that? And once I got over that, when realizing like, okay, it just ain't for everybody, bro, that's when
shit took off.
It took off.
Say, let's park there, because I have this theory. I'm meeting with my attorney next week. I need to go ahead and coin or trademark this shit. It's called the 1% of the 1%. And essentially what that means is, when you think of the 1%, you always hear about 1% of the people control 99% of the world, and they're the wealthiest people. But I look at it like this. Whenever you're creating a tribe of people, whenever you're creating a people that's going to really follow you, you can't expect for everyone to buy into it. Right. You need to identify the 1% of the 1%. You think about, from the terms of being in the United States, there's 350 million people in the United States. 1% of that is 3.5 million. 1% of that is 35,000 people. If you can get a tribe of 35,000 people to buy into what the fuck you're doing, offer them a service, offer them a product, you charge them $17 a month to be in a membership, bro, that's like $6 million a year. Yeah. Simply focusing on the people that you don't have to convince.
Right.
Like, why is it that in our community, and I just posted this today, we feel like we have to come together with everyone to get our point across?
I think what it comes from, it's the compound interest of what we've been through systemically, right?
I agree.
I feel as though what it is that we're still in this mindset of having to break ourselves free from where our parents and our grandparents were, or where a lot of us still are, right? Yeah. And unfortunately for it, and I love how you talk about this culture, it ain't my culture, right? And even within that, some people don't understand what you mean, right? I know you're not saying I don't fuck with black people. What you're saying is the stupid shit that comes with being black people that we elevate and we celebrate, I ain't with that.
Dre, if we have to explain that to niggas,
that's
them niggas ain't for me, man. Yeah. Like, I'm literally on this thing where I'm just like, fuck them. Like, at some point in the game, you either in the huddle or you out the huddle.
Yeah.
And I've worked with celebrities. I've been on TMZ with a client before. Like, I'm not trying to convince you. If you think that a song that perpetuates and promotes get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas is who we are as a group of people, and you're okay with that, then I don't have shit to do with you. And I'm not saying you can't have fun and enjoy certain things. Then people say, well, it's entertainment. It's them telling their lives. You don't say that about the mafia movies. I know what I'm saying is that when this becomes the fabric of who you are, you can't be surprised when the world sees you as that.
Right. And you can't be surprised at how you see yourself, right? And that comes back to, again, kind of the mission that we have with Black Menswear. It's to change the narrative internally, right? If I can put on an event and you got 200 black men that come there together in suits, right? Because the suits aspect, it is a show, a representation of, bro, I got somewhere to go today. I got something to do. When you put that together, right? And I always say suits are synonymous with business no matter what culture you're from.
No matter what culture you're from.
Black, white, Asian, Latin, suits is the same. It means the same for everybody.
Suit means you showing up to do some business.
But for us, it's a
old slick ass nigga.
Exactly.
Who this nigga trying to come?
Who you think you trying to be? Nobody. I got some shit to do today, right? But what I've been finding is having that space and making it to where there's so many of us. Brothers then look at it and say, okay, because we think as a unit, right? All right, well, shoot, there's a lot of them. Hold on. They can't all be cooning. You know what I'm saying? They can't all be. And then they have conversations. And when you have conversations with brothers, it's like, bro, especially at the flash mob, talking with brothers that are like, bro, I got a suit. I got one suit in my closet. This is a suit I got on today. And you know what? I put it on because I wanted to come here. I couldn't come here and I couldn't come here and not fit in. You know what I'm saying? So I put this suit on. It might be baggy. It might not fit me. It's the one I got 4 years ago because I just had to get a suit. But bro, being here in this space, in this ambiance, the conversations that are being had, like, damn, like, thank you for just having this space. And he didn't say one thing about, man, I came here and all these niggas saw me. They was talking down to me. Because it's not that. It's bro, if you're here, you the tribe. What's going on with you, man? What you going through? And again,
but people don't see that. People,
they see surface level.
Surface level. They, when people show up, and I had to check myself on that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like coming into this whole no more OG space, I had to take a step back and look at shit. Stop looking at shit from a street view and start looking at it from a satellite view.
Yeah.
Like, what's the big picture? Like, what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Just because a person looks or portrays himself a certain way doesn't make himself a certain way. Because I work with entertainers who tell you to get high, get drunk, fuck bitches, kill niggas, but they kids can't even listen to that music.
Yeah.
So then that becomes like, well, damn, how do we get to the bottom of that problem? Like, why is it that we sell this on our own people? But you said something there. You said all of them can't be coons, right? Like, at some point, we're going to have to get those preconceived notions about people out of our heads, allow ourselves to get into the room with people and to see exactly who they are.
Right.
Then make a determination based off of that. And I had that really bad, Dre. Like I would see shit and I'm like, I ain't going that shit, man. Them niggas ain't talking about shit. Them niggas is. And then I had to check myself like, who the fuck am I to say that's who they're about when I'm not there? And now I be at everything. Yeah. I show up to everything because I want to be represented.
What we have to break out of is we're not a monolith, right? We're all different.
That's a new term. Well, that's a new perspective within the past 5 years that I didn't even know about. Talk about that, bro.
So one of the things we love to do on our platform is amplify the stories that don't get told. Because again, everything we do comes back to changing the narrative internally. If I can show you a black man as president and tell you his story, it might not be the exact same as yours, but now you see, damn, I can be president. If he did it, I can do it. If it's a doctor, if it's a lawyer, if it's a C-suite, if it's an entrepreneur, it's being able to tell those stories, because what happens is we think the culture tells us, to your point, either you a hood nigga or you're a square.
Right.
And you can't be in between, right? Why can't I be a nigga from the hood that likes square things that became successful? You know what I'm saying? Like that's and really trying to tell those stories, because again, it might not be for all, 30 million black men in the country. I think it's somewhere around that, right?
Yeah.
But if it's for the 15,000 that helped us change their mindsets and they flipped a switch for them, and now they're better members of their community, they're better members in their household, and they're now changing the narrative for the next generation, because the young brothers who look at them as the OG, like, damn, I just seen him, a few months ago doing something different. Where he go? Oh, he went to a flash mob and he was with those brothers. Now he started checking into their podcast. And now he's watching their content. And now he's going to their meet, he met another brother that was at one of these, and now they're going to other stuff together. So he's been able to, again, find his tribe. And now he's now he's not on the path of doing something that's going to disrupt him and his family and all his future generations. Dang, let me figure out what he got going on.
No. He's supposed to be a hood nigga forever.
And
that's what the culture tells us to do, right? The culture says, these were the cards that you dealt. Play them.
Just play them. Yeah.
And you can't, if you get outside of this mentality, then you a coon, or you selling us out, or you talking down on your people. Like, the very idea of offering a solution is taboo. If it's coming from a black man, if it's coming from a black woman, it's received all day. Let me make sure that I add context to that, because I'm definitely going to use that in the marketing, right? but the context is this: when you look at even the political structure that black people subscribe to, it's not even a lot of men in these positions or in these offices. It's typically black women who are pushing the narrative of politics that are geared towards and marketed towards black people. When you look at the voice of the communities, it's typically two people. It's either somebody from a religious background or a black woman who is typically elevated. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as black boy magic.
Yeah.
And in the process of making sure that our women have a voice, which is something that we need to have, right? Let's not get it twisted. Yeah. And making sure that our women are protected and taken care of, we have completely silenced men. Somebody gonna feel some kind of way about that, and I really don't care. There's black boys right now who literally have no idea. Well, shit, I guess I'll go play a sport. Well, I don't know how to play sports.
Right.
Well, shit, I guess I gotta go sell dope.
Right.
There's literally no recourse.
Yeah.
And then when you have the recourse in your position that comes along and says, hey, you don't have to sell dope or play sports or sing a song, do a dance. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be a businessman. You can get a job. In the black community, we not pushing jobs no more. For some reason, they say everybody got to be an entrepreneur. No, why not go out there and get a good career?
Yeah, right.
What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Why not? But I'm rambling. I'll give it back to you.
No, I think, again, it comes back to who's been controlling the narrative forever, right? And that's the biggest thing. We emphasize the stories that need to be told, because if I forever give somebody the opportunity to be the author of my story, they're going to write it the way that they want to write it. We see what's going on right now with Kanye and with Kyrie. Now, do I agree with everything they say? No. Right. But at the same time, the person who's got the pen is writing their whole narrative right now. It changed, basically has allowed for, because they have the control of the media outlets, they've allowed for this story because, you offended me, you offended my people. And again, I'm not saying, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with whatever was stated. But who got the pen is now controlling.
No entity should have that much control over what a person says.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing more, nothing less. Case in point, when the whole Colin Kaepernick shit popped off, I just sold a house to an NFL player. I was on TMZ. I had got promised from a lot of the people that I was working with, hey man, we're gonna make sure that you get a lot of business, right? And when the Colin Kaepernick shit popped off, I spoke out against it. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I'm a military veteran. I literally have been in a war zone overseas to serve our country so that people in different countries can have freedom of speech. Why can't he have freedom of speech? He's not doing anything disrespectful.
Yeah.
He literally took a knee. He literally listened to what a veteran told him to do. Right? He sat down and people found that disrespectful. So then he took a knee. And no matter what he did, just him having the audacity to say, I don't agree with you, completely put him in a position where he could never make money with this entity again. Yeah. Now, listen, I don't agree with everything Colin Kaepernick has said or done over the past decade, if you will. But that in itself is scary when you think about it, that an entity can take away your ability to earn $1 simply because they disagree with you and there's no due process. I mean, I'm going to throw that oop, man. You can slam it down.
And again, it comes back to, at the end of the day, what we doing for ourselves then. Right.
What you mean what we doing for ourselves? Don't we got to come together and just love and hope and pray and hope that everything happens and works for us? And the people that we claim that are disenfranchising us, we're just supposed to expect that one day they'll wake up. They're going to wake up and say, I'm done with putting my foot on you niggas next. And that's it. We can't do that.
Man, look. The situation ain't changed holistically because we don't have enough of us holistically being the change we want to see. Right? We have pockets of it. And I'm going to say there are a lot of us now, right? There are a lot of us, but we still don't own the pen that's telling our story. right? So that's what we're doing. We're trying to work it inside from the inside out. We're trying to go grassroots.
Yeah.
If we can do as much stories and tell as much positive, like then it doesn't become a, well, I'm gonna look at you crazy because you don't look like me. Then it becomes like, oh shoot, what's going on with you? You know, say that stigma isn't there because, to your point, you either got to be one or the other.
And bro, when I tell you, I've tried to make it a point to go back to where I'm from and specifically get street niggas. You know, like, hey, bro, here's the alternative. Like, I wrote my book literally for street niggas.
Yeah.
I didn't write my book for anybody else but niggas from my hood who always ask me every time I saw them at the barbershop, every time I went, man, how you do that? How you do that? And I just got tired of telling people how I did it. So I'm like, let me write a book for y'all. Like, here literally, the book was for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of them have this mentality. I'll never forget, and I tell the story, I've told it before, after me and my homeboy, I wrote the book, we were having a conversation. I'm like, man, you could do this shit. And he said, Tim, I'm good at selling dope and pimping hoes, man. Like, this is what you do. And I'm proud of you, but this is what I want to do. The rest was history. I wrote the book. Tim became who he became. In that moment, my partner ended up going to prison. And it's just like, at some point in the game, like, we're going to have to ask ourselves, is this perpetuation or lifestyle going to benefit us long term or hurt us? And then when you get people like me and you who come together, because y'all see me, I'm all tatted up. But literally, I have been to City Hall like this, and I go the very next day in a suit for a commission meeting. And the people the previous day didn't speak to me, didn't say anything to me, didn't even make eye contact with me. And then the very next day is, hey, Commissioner Jackson.
Right.
I was here yesterday.
Right.
Do you know how powerful of a statement that is to understand that a zoning commissioner for the city of Dallas can go to City Hall on one day and not even get eye contact?
Right.
And the next day, everybody's kissing my ass because I got to pass these. I got to pass these cases.
Yeah. It's that's an important message that we need to understand, right? And it's not, and that message comes back to not that you weren't qualified the day before, right? You were still as qualified.
Yeah.
The message is, until we get to the point when we run fucking City Hall to where you can come in there and be you, and then the people gonna be like, hey, yo, tell what you need done today, right? Until we're at that point, then we have to play the game that everybody else is playing. And that's the thing that pisses me off sometimes, because it's like we don't feel like we got to play the game too. Like what?
This is gonna be the most. I'm gonna say let's talk about that more than any that I've ever said in the episode. I tell people that all the time. Black culture is literally the most studied culture than any other culture. Literally everything we do is emulated and mass produced.
Yeah.
Everyone comes into our culture and learns how to play the game.
Yeah.
People come from different walks of life into white culture and learn exactly what they need to do to take that information. White people do it. White people will come, join a company, learn the company, and leave and go start their own company.
Yes.
And there's never any criticism for them to do it. But when we do it, it's, oh man, we got to stick together. No, we can build, you know, that McDonald's and Burger King, they sell the same thing, a hamburger. Like, why do you think it is that our people feel like, one, we're the only ones that's experiencing that aspect of the game, but two, why we can't come in and play the game and learn how the game is played so we can go change the rules?
Because I think to answer the second part of that question, it's because we don't want to feel like a sellout and get ostracized by our community, which is a problem in itself.
That's right.
If you hoop, what you do? You practice
all day.
You study film
all day,
and you get better. But yet in life, we don't feel it's okay to do the same thing. It's not okay for me to go to that school with all them white folk and learn what they learning and then go implement that. And then because I always see it from a perspective of, and again, maybe I'm just, because of the people person that I am, I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. And then to your point, what if I write a book, show you exactly how to do it, and then you can implement it yourself? Like, I don't understand why.
Charge you pennies on the dollar to teach you.
And then you can implement it, right? But we feel as though if I leave this area, if I leave this community, if I change my vernacular, you know, I speak correctly, that's a problem.
You enunciate.
I enunciate my words. You're so articulate.
You talk white.
I hate white people.
No, when you talk white. Let's talk about that. Who is it worse? Is it worse when a black person tell you talk white, or when a white person tell you can pronounce? You're so articulate.
So for me, it's worse when a white person tells me. Because if a black person tells me, if a black person tells me, they don't know, they don't know no better. They're just like, bro, why you doing? When a white person tells it to you, what they're telling you is you're different than the rest of them. That's why I hate it.
And you know what? It's always fun because, like I said, I walk around like this all day. But when I have to go to meetings, I go to the meeting. You know what I'm saying? And it's always funny walking into those meetings with people who've only seen me like this. And then when I come in and start citing my credentials and my experience, it's just like, oh, like the whole tone and mood changes when they know you know.
Yeah.
And once you can show people that you know, they'll quit fucking with you so much, man. Like the whole game changed because now they got to change their approach. But see, when it's just one person who knows, it's easy to destroy him. When we all know, or when a tribe of us knows, then it's like, oh, we better quit fucking with them because they not the ones to fuck with.
That was a big thing for me, actually, why I really dove into suits. So one, obviously, I started my love for suits because we a part of the fraternity, and like you got to be the cleanest motherfucker in the room when you go, right? But where I started thriving in it, I've been in financial services for 13 years, and I'm in a position where I travel and I train other people how to do what I do.
Right.
And me going into a room, financial services ain't a lot of black people, right? So I'm going into a room as a young black man in a room full of old white men. And man, when I started hearing, oh, that's a bad suit. That's a nice suit you got on. Bro, at that point, you know, you can tell body language from people, right?
Absolutely.
So when you're speaking with somebody and they're sitting back like this, versus when you're speaking with somebody and
they're leaning in.
Bro, you know how many times I came into that room and as soon as I walked in and they saw what I had, they're like, oh, what you got? I see you with the lapels and the double breast back in. Like these questions, right? And for me,
he knows what he's doing.
For me, it was always it became my safety blanket in those rooms because it was like, all right, I already won you. Now let me give you the knowledge. Now you're gonna be eating out of my palm. Now I'm about to make 6 figures off of you.
And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, but it's necessary.
But it's necessary
that we need to do it. And a lot of times, black people, we got this keeping it real mentality. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. My thing is, man, what the fuck has real gotten our culture? What the fuck has real gotten black people? Real ain't got us a motherfucking thing.
It's got us where we are. You know what I'm saying? And you could, like, people think like, okay, and this is the context of conversation that, you know, is probably a much longer conversation around this thing about code switching, right? Bro, code switching is how you survive. And then it becomes how you thrive.
White people code switch.
They do it all.
I don't think black people understand.
But even black people code switch, bro.
Everybody code switches. When you get home, you are yourself in your home. When you get around the people that you feel comfortable around, you're yourself. Everybody code switches. But again, the black experience says that we're the only people that do stuff. And instead of creating an alternative to it, we complain about it. It's just like, bro, everybody code switches.
Everybody does. And again, that's playing the game. Right? It's not code switch. It's playing the game. In order for me to be successful in this room, let me do this the way that they do it. Let me do it the way that they do it so I can emulate some of that, pull some of that off so I can close this deal and I can go back to the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go back to the crib with the money now. Like, now let's figure this out. But if I go in there and I try to say, all right, well, this is going to be for me until we get to a place where I have earned the right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll come into a room without earning the right to go in there and just be like, well, fuck all y'all. Y'all didn't know me for who I was, so I'm taking it.
That's not how business works. And I always tell people, as long as I'm not causing harm or someone's not causing harm to our race through misrepresentation and by selling us out, literally like I'm better than them. Like when you said, when a black person say you talk white versus a white person, you're articulate, like that's the notion of the white person thinking that you're different. When you go into that room and start telling them I'm different, that's when you cooning. Yeah. That's when you don't give a fuck about your people. Right. But when you're going in trying to learn the game and studying what people are doing so that you can apply to your business and apply to your life and then take it back to your community, that's no different than the person overseas who, you know, I'll never forget being in the military, how they had what's called TCNs, third country nationals. They would work at these bases overseas and they would do like 2, 3, 4, 5-year deployments, send their money back home. And then they would go home maybe once every 5 years. That's no different, bro.
Bro, that's what Africans do here. like Africans that are first generations here, and it's crazy. We think about it, right? Because we grew up with Africans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, I got a lot of homies that are Nigerian.
Well, you know, Houston
Ethiopia,
has like one of the largest. If I'm not mistaken, Houston does have the largest conglomerate
African
of Nigerian
yes.
Americans.
It's because they go into engineering, bro, and it's engineering hub there, right? But what they're doing, what I've learned, that a lot of them are doing, they come here, bro. A lot of the money that they make early on goes back home, right? Because that's what, but they're here to set a precedence, and I say this to say, when it comes to the culture, we missing out on that, right? Now, granted, it's because I might be leaving home and all my family's back home and those kind of things, but it's like we lack that connectivity that we should have when it comes to, again, to your point, you joked about it, about like, can we all just come together and kumbaya and shit works? I think we can, but the work has to happen too. You can't just come together and we complain about it and then no work is put in to actually move it forward.
Or there's this sense of entitlement that because you made it, I made it too. And I can speak to that because, I made it a point to hire people from where I was from that I knew. And man, I hate to say this shit, but the conversation has to be had. Like, we can't keep living in silence and not talking about the shit that happens in our community, specifically trauma. Like, I can tell you how many people that I hired that felt like they should be Tim Jackson Realty.
Yeah.
Just because of their proximity to me.
Yeah.
Like, I had a dude at one point in the game, like, was telling people he was running the company and was just doing all kinds of nigga shit, man. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I'm giving you an opportunity and you shitting on me, but I can't say that out loud. I can't lament about that, or I can't say, let's not do that as a people to each other. And that's a perfect segue into our final topic. I personally think that we as Black people need to explore why we push away the Black people in our community who are genuinely trying to create change, because it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't mentality. If I stick around and take this shit, I'm a part of the group, but it's like I'm accepted. But there's no reward for sticking around with the group. If I leave and grab the information and come back, you reject me, because one, like you said, in the financial services, when a Black person shows up, people gonna question you, right? And I'll never forget when I was teaching people about credit and I was doing taxes and all this stuff, like really doing it the legit way. People were like, I don't know about that. They would come to me and get all the advice, but then they would go buy through a white company or through someone else. Yeah. And it puts a lot of people in a position, like, I'm just gonna say, for instance, me or you, like, when we actually get the information and we bring it back, the only person that's really pushing us away is our own people. So now we got to go out into the world and deal with systemic racism, the stigmas that come with being a successful Black man in a space where you're literally the only Black man. And then you go back to your own community and you try to teach and they push you away. Like, come on, let's talk about that.
Man, and again, I think that comes back to that compound of what's been going on, to where now we're in positions where we have a voice that we're really trying to leverage, right? A lot of that comes back down to, we're very hard on our own people.
Shit,
right?
That's an understatement.
We'll go and patronize a place, a white-owned restaurant or establishment. The food came out slow. The service wasn't great, and we'll be like, damn, we'll go back again next week. Won't say nothing about it to nobody.
Won't say a damn thing.
Let it be a Black-owned business. And I don't say this because I haven't seen it. I say this out of reality.
Them niggas over there, them niggas don't know. That's why I don't do business with Black companies, you motherfucking coon.
But that's the thing. Like, we will then we will go out of our way to explain why we're dissatisfied, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Constructive criticism, if you're a business owner and I'm a business and I'm a Black man, like, yo, hey, let me tell you what went wrong. Like, hey, I'm gonna just give you a suggestion. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might need somebody new at the front, because we came in, she was not, he was not, they did not,
And you know what I find? Even on when you do that from a 50-50 standpoint, some people receive it, some people feel like, who are you? I'm your customer.
In that regard, they a
so
bad
I'm damned
business.
if I do, I'm not damned if I don't.
Yeah.
If I don't say something, I'm never coming back. Or if I don't say something that I badmouth you, I'm bad because I'm speaking down on you. But I'm giving you the feedback like, hey, man, I like it here. I want to come back. and most people are receptive to it. I'm not gonna put us all in that category, but like I use Walmart for example. Walmart has never been known for customer service.
No.
Walmart's customer service is so bad. They say just check your own shit out then, goddamn it. If you don't like the way that's like my running joke. I've said that 3 shows in a row, right? But that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
But we go to Walmart every paycheck.
Yeah.
Knowing like we have to prepare ourselves mentally to go to a Walmart.
Right.
Like I literally I won't say that on camera, but I'll say it off camera, but I'm giving you an example. But if a black person, we hire them to do a job, we know they're understaffed. We know that most times they're over leveraged, right? We don't show them the same grace that we show a white corporation.
Right.
Like, can you speak to why it's so important for us to start showing a little bit more grace to black businesses and giving them the same deference that you would give to a white company that has stakeholders and stockholders that are funding them versus we're literally working 2 jobs to have our dream going?
Yeah, it's to you, the way you put it there at the very end, right? A lot of our dreams are crushed because we don't make it out of that first 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. And this is now obviously all businesses, right? All startup companies. I think a large majority of them fail within the first 12 months. Right?
Every single one of them.
Right. And so when you think about it, if I'm a fail because I don't have the infrastructure, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If I'm a fail because you basically just put a black eye on me in my own community, so none of my own people who I might have relied on to at least give me a first shot, now ain't none of them coming because you went above and beyond.
Don't go over there.
Yeah, right.
Why?
Right.
I had a bad experience. That was your experience. That wasn't my experience.
So for that, I think that comes back to that community aspect. If we're really trying to help, like there's always been this buy bigger black, buy better black, buy black. We've got these these days and these instances. But I think what we're missing out on is that grace that you talked about. Let me support you just to support you, right? I do this. I live in DeSoto. I moved to DeSoto for a reason. Right? I want my kids to see black educators, black principals, black superintendents that are going to pour into them, that are going to get on them in a way that they white. Bro, we was in, let me see. We started at Tony Evans School.
Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship?
Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship has a private school, right, associated with it. Collegiate Kingdom Academy. Yes, he has school that's associated. We ain't been there a few years.
It's been a while.
And we had a little tribe of 3 kids that were my oldest son's age. Once we all got to the point where we could then go to school where we were and the taxes that we were paying for, we took them out, right? So this was prep preschool, right? So we all go to different places. I go to DeSoto. One of my homies go to Red Oak. The other one they're in Waxahachie. So Midlothian.
Midlothian.
We come together for birthday parties. They said, bro, let me tell you what happened at the school.
Yeah.
The one that was in the whitest school area down in Midlothian. He said, man, y'all know my son. He's a big kid. Oh, he ain't gonna hurt a fly. Literally, we know him. We're like, oh, nah, like you got all that size for nothing, right? He said, man, this little black girl is messing with him every day in school. Every day. Every day. He told the teacher about it several times. She won't leave me alone. She keep messing with me. He said the one day that he got up out his seat, he's like, leave me alone. They told this boy, you need to see the guidance counselor every Monday. They marked, this is a 6-year-old. They didn't mark his record. Now he's aggressive.
Yeah.
Now he's got, right? All of this stuff that now, because they've put him in a situation where we thought they talk about it like, as parents, you try to do what's best for your kids.
Try to do what's best for your kids. I literally just had a conversation with a principal at my son's school about the exact same thing. And I said, I will be damned if I allow you to make an example out of my son when I've personally seen with my own eyes the dysfunction that takes place in one particular setting. Mm-hmm. So my background's in education. You're not going to be able to pull that shit over my eyes.
Yeah.
When we've come to your attention about things that have happened, literally he was supposed to be calling me back to give me an update on something that happened to my son. And he started off the conversation, well, I'm following up about something that he did. I said, no. You're not going to start the conversation off unless you're giving me an update on something that happened to him. Because when I bring shit to you guys' attention, it's always downplayed. But if he does something, it's fucking the end of the world.
Right.
And you can miss me with that bullshit.
Right.
And I'm a registered volunteer. I'm still going to be up there.
Right.
I'm still going to volunteer. I'm still going to do my thing because it's my right. But I will be damned if you sit up and think for 1 second that you're going to make an example out of my son when I seen with my own eyes how chaotic this classroom is.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that was the reason that happened in Plano. He was the only black kid. And that was the reason we took his ass out of Plano because it's like, no. And let me tell you how petty I was, Dre. I signed up to be a sub in Plano.
Yeah.
I subbed every fucking grade at that damn school.
Yes.
And started a file on how they discipline kids, the black kids versus non-kids. And then I had a meeting with the principal and everyone and put that shit in their face.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do a damn thing about it but admit.
Yeah.
Because it's not me being a complaining parent now. Now I'm an employee of the district.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I got time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I got time. That's why I tell y'all, buy some real estate. You know what I'm saying? Collect some rent every month so you can go take some time off and do shit like that about your kids, right? Go, men, sign up to be a volunteer at your kid's school. Show up randomly. Volunteer in every grade, not just his or her grade, but like, that's interesting, man. Like, keep going. I know that story too well.
And again, a thing that comes back to this conversation about community, about uplift. I think as a people, we have good intentions. I really do.
Yeah.
I just think we lack execution. And so as we become consistent with our execution, we will see changes that will then come back. And one thing that we got to do too, we got to celebrate the wins, right? So when we look at it from we come together, we have a conversation. We know shit is wrong. We know shit is bad in our communities. We know. And then we talk about it and we say, you know what? Let's do this differently. I bet.
No.
Next time we get together,
we never say let's do this differently. we say we got to do better. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
How does we got to do better look?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this, we got to do better shit. I can't stand when people say that because my first thing is specifically tell me what doing better looks like and specifically tell me how we can execute doing better. If you're just going to show up and say we got to do better, man, get the fuck out of my face with that shit.
It's empty conversations, right? It's empty words.
It's
just dialogue, right? And that comes to what we just did with this Black Men Summit. Yeah. Right. So that was one of the things. We were together, and three of us that run Black Menswear, Black Wealth Renaissance, the Dad Gang, and Black Man Can.
Yep.
Well, everyone except for the Black Wealth Renaissance was together in New York last year. Mm-hmm. And we're in New York, man, and we had the flash mob out there, and we were just like, yo, this is amazing. And we overheard the conversations from the flash mob to the brunch that we did.
Yeah.
And like brothers is talking about business. Brothers are talking about, man, what you going through? How you handling fatherhood? Like these are very in-depth conversations. We said, bro, we got to have this on a grander scale to where we can really break down some of these internal stereotypes that we have and stigmas that we have.
And men have to show up. We can't keep saying we need change. And then when people create the change for us, we don't show up.
Bro, we executed a high quality event.
Bro, that shit, I actually text Will when all the footage came out. I said, bro, this was a production.
Yes.
This wasn't no mom and pop rinky dink bullshit. No. This was a production.
Yes.
Like a real, like even when I walked in, I was like, as a speaker, I came to the back. So I'm like, damn, this is set up really nice in the back. But then when I got on stage, I was like, yo, this is a production. And then I went back and watched you guys do some other things. I said, people need to see this, man.
But that came out of, and I use this as an example, that came out of a conversation that says, now we need to do better. We need to facilitate this in a setting that will then allow people, all right, we got to do it on 2 days or 1 day. Now let's do 1 day, right? Do we want to do it? Where do we want to do it? Well, the majority of us are in Dallas that can lead this effort to get this together, so we're going to do it in Dallas, right? So all of these pieces came together, not because of conversations, like it's because of the pieces, the execution that had to come with that to where then we have a safe space for black men to come together. Now, to your point, I agree with you on that. We had, I think, probably throughout the day, we had like 200 brothers in person that came in, which is a good number.
That's a good number. It could have been better.
But
it will be better next time because
will,
when I tell you, just the footage alone.
Yes. People we eat with our eyes as a community, right?
Yeah.
You gonna go to that? Let me know how it was, so you gonna vouch for it, get a stamp of approval. Now I can
literally
support
said
it.
that this morning, Dre. I said too many of us are sitting around waiting on everyone to come together, but the way we respond as a people in general is when one person does something and it gets validated and everyone jumps on. That's when everybody was always there. Like I can't tell you how much work I've done. Not that I'm bragging about it, but now that I'm starting to get out there, I'll never forget being on the news for the first time or one of the times, and I had someone call me and say, "Damn, I saw you on the news. You really doing it. It took you for you to fucking see me on the news, right?" But it's like that's how we think. We eat with our eyes. Damn, I'm gonna use that, man. And it's like other groups, they don't do that, man.
But they don't do it because they don't have to, because they see success as natural. We see success because, again, it comes back to this fucked up culture that we in. We see success as
you're right, because even like the rappers that I know who started off and made some of themselves, like shit, we was going to some of them shows. It was like 15, 20 people at the shows. Now them niggas, now they don't come back around because it's like y'all weren't fucking with them like that. You know, like and we have to start fucking with people on the grassroots that are doing what we need. And stop feeling like people have to agree with you on everything. Like, there's been times where I've been watching somebody and they'll say some off the wall shit. And this is years ago. And I'll be like, man, fuck that. That dude on that bullshit. Now, you say some off the wall shit, I'm just going to compare it to all the dope shit you've said. And I'll be like, hey, 80-20 rule, man. Like, you're not going to say everything I agree. I don't agree with every fucking thing that you say. I don't agree with everything you say, DeAndre. I don't agree with everything you do.
Right.
But you do enough shit that makes me say, Dre's not going to hang me out to dry. Dre is never going to have bad intentions with his actions.
Yeah.
I may not agree with Dre on something, but that doesn't make Dre a bad guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like,
In all honesty, I want to be around people who don't agree with me all the time so that they can check me when I do some fuck shit, man. That's just me.
And then that, again, it comes back to this tribe and why your tribe is so important. Because you have to be I'm all for, and again, just seeing where I've been and how I've grown now and where I am now, just as a culmination of all my life experiences, good and bad. I need a safe space because there's issues that I need to talk about. I can't go talk about in a room with nobody that look like me or understand these experiences. And at the same time,
we're gonna have to do a whole nother episode on this shit.
And at the same time, me being in this safe space and me being vulnerable allows other brothers to be vulnerable with me. It's like, bro, I see where you're going with that, but you need to change your mindset. You need to be able to switch things up, and being okay with doing that. I think we're now in a place where that's the new culture. That's where we gotta go.
It is, and I'm doing a meeting with a guy tomorrow. This is the true story, bro. This is, I often believe that a lot of the issues that we have is because we don't know how to resolve conflict. Mm-hmm. We automatically assume the worst, right? And there's people that I've dealt with in Dallas, and I won't say any names. This ain't about shitting on nobody specifically, right? But they'll have an issue with something I say or do. And instead of picking up the phone and calling me on my personal cell, like literally, I don't give my number out to everybody. Mm-hmm. If you got my cell phone number, I'll fuck with you. Mm-hmm. They'll rather get on the phone and go talk to everyone else about how they perceive that I made them feel.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, they're wrong. And I'm wrong if I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I saw something online recently from a person I respect. And I was like, man, that's not what I would expect of this person. Like, what's going on? I picked up the phone and I called him. He was like, oh, hell no, man, let me tell you what happened. And it was such a myth.
Yeah.
He said, you're like the 20th person who's called me.
Yeah.
He said, and that's why I fuck with you, Tim, because you didn't get online and blast me out. You didn't start talking shit about me. You didn't start texting a group chat. You literally came directly to me and said, hey, what's going on? And you didn't even ask me what was up. You said, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And I think that in our community, Dre, and the reason I fuck with what you're doing is that you bring men together to have those types of conversations, to be vulnerable, to be able to say, you know what? I didn't know any better. Like, this is all I knew. Mm-hmm. And when I see people hop in my comments and they start talking about, oh, that's this, I'll block them off. Like, hey, you know what? You're not my target audience, bro. Like, you're not the person that I'm going to build with.
Yeah.
You're not the person who ever shows up to provide anything but criticism.
Yeah.
And as men, specifically black men, we got to get out of feeling the need to, you know, sun people or make people feel like they need to agree with us or else, and start meeting people halfway and saying, man, why you feel that way? And I feel like that'll resolve a lot of problems in our community.
I think, you bring up a great point. Conflict resolution is why niggas get shot every day.
Every fucking day.
Over little shit. You know what I'm saying? And because we don't know how to resolve our issues without force. And it's because I have to, man, he made you feel like, hey man, you gotta go settle that. He
disrespected you.
Which is a human trait, right? Disrespect ain't no, and it's, I go back. I said disrespect ain't nowhere in the Bible where it was like you're going to hell because you disrespect somebody disrespected you, or you. But we as people get so caught up in this power struggle, right? That's where that disrespect comes to.
I'm going to kill you because you disrespected me by saying something with words, not doing something with actions. That's crazy when you think about it.
Yes, and like have a lot of our brothers locked up in the system for how they handle their conflict. For
a 30-second response.
Yeah. Yes.
You're spending 30 years in prison. And I mentor guys in prison. I write guys, I mentor about 4 guys right now in prison. Mm-hmm. And they'll all tell you, Mr. Tim, literally my crime took me 30 seconds to commit. And I'm in here for 30 years, 40 years, 25 years.
We don't think, we just act.
You know what I'm saying? Impulse. Like if my thing is, if you disrespect me, I always tell myself, I know me. Right. Mm-hmm. And at this point in my life, it's just like, if that's the way you feel, okay. But just know you over there for forever now. Yeah, like you over there until you figure it out, until you can man up and show me that same respect in front of people or whatever. Right. Like you did with the disrespect, you over there. It ain't no hard feelings. I hate that you feel that way, brother, but let's let time show who's right in this situation. Like I let time serve as my judge. Yeah. Like, come back in 5 years and let's see where you are and let's see where I'm at as it relates to this situation. And whoever's right, I can admit it. But old me was like, man, fuck that, man. I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass right now. Right. I know you didn't grow up fighting. Dre, I grew up with.
Hey, nigga, just because I wasn't around, hey, you still got active. You know what I mean? Like you still got active.
You said you wasn't going there to get active, but
if activity
happened, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's like now I don't even care. Like I've seen people that have had stuff to say about me, and everybody's so chatty patty these days. It's gonna always get back to you. And it's just like, if you didn't come to me and address the issue, in my mind, there's not a problem. Mm-hmm. And if I see you, I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to say, what's good? I'm not running from anything, man, because I know from my character standpoint, I ain't did shit to you. Yeah. And as a man, we got to be able to, I reached out and called this brother and he going to be on the podcast. He coming in tomorrow. Yeah. It's just like, that's how you solve your problems. But listen, man, let me tell you, bro. I'm proud of you, Dre. And I know a lot of people nowadays are afraid to show gratitude to people because in their mindset, well, I don't want us to fall off later. And then he have a video of me saying, I think man, fuck all that. Really? Like I don't go, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't go into situations expecting to fall off with people. Right. I don't go into situations expecting to be the big guy. So, man, I'm proud of you, man. I wouldn't have brought you on this podcast if I didn't think that you were somebody that our audience needed to see. Man, keep doing what you're doing. That Black Men's Summit was powerful, brother. You brought together guys from literally every single walk of life that showed up and gave their time, effort, and energy to pour into other Black men. So if you guys if you didn't attend, I believe there's going to be a link for them to go back and purchase it and watch it. If you're a part of my community, if you're part of my tribe, you need to go purchase that. If you're a woman and you're part of my tribe, you need to purchase that for your brother, your son, your father, your husband, that nephew, that little cousin, that godson. Every man needs to watch that Men's Summit, bro, because it was a bunch of different Black men from different walks of life coming into a room, sharing with you their personal experience. And a lot of times men think they're the only ones that's going through it. Yeah. We think we're the only ones who got bad kids or, our wife getting on our nerves. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone goes through that, Dre. So I want to thank you, brother. Where can people find you at, my guy?
Nah, man, I appreciate you. You can find us online, Black Menswear, everywhere, blackmenswear.com, Instagram, Black Menswear, Twitter, Black Menswear, TikTok, The Black Menswear. Tap into our podcast. Our podcast is now on the Revolt Network. It's dope. One-on-one conversation with Black men about how they achieve their success. It's dope. Our YouTube series, Dapper Conversations, is available as well. And we're just, again, We are storytellers, and you could probably find one of our 25 black male influencers out there doing campaign deals that we represent and help them earn what they're supposed to earn on these deals. 'Cause a lot of them come to the table and say, hey, yo, I'll do this post for X amount of dollars. We say, bro, you won't. You'll do this post for 10 times what you just told me. Don't ever tell nobody else that again. Like, you need to know your worth when it comes to these, to working through social media and things. So we do a lot of that as well, being strategic, because again, we saw a lot of brothers getting underpaid. Like, nah, bro, I help brothers change their lives.
Yeah.
I brought a $50,000 check to an influencer. He was like, wait,
What?
for real?
They paying us this?
We was like,
and too often we as black people feel like we have to come in and give a discount. No, fuck that.
No,
we are the culture, man. Like, stop discounting yourself. These companies have budgets.
Well beyond what you thought they was. Yes.
Somebody reached a banking institution reached out to me to speak, and I was like, I'm gonna want this bag.
Yeah.
And I sent them my number. They came in like $1,000 less. I said, okay, we can negotiate that. I'm cool with that.
Right.
But I know people that would have started off a lot less than what I asked.
I'll do it for $500. No, you won't. Know your worth, right? So we're really helping to change that aspect and really helping guys to understand, their worth when it comes to that. So you probably see us do that as well. But man, flowers reciprocated, bro. Again, we've known each other for a decade, and just seeing the trajectories that we're both on, it's motivating. You know what I'm saying? It's motivating, and again, it comes back to the fact that what we're doing shouldn't be special.
Shouldn't be taboo.
It should be the norm, right? We should see and understand that it's like, okay, bet. Well, shoot, what play did you make last week? Like, what did you do last month? What did you do last year?
No, I be trying to tell people I'm not hiding shit from nobody. Like, if it's a move that I'm making, I don't give a fuck to tell you to play.
Right.
Like, run the play. That's
right.
But people I get into these rooms with some guys sometimes, and it's just like, they be so afraid to tell you to play. And it's just like, bro, like, we complain about gatekeepers, and then you get in a position and you keep the gate.
Yeah. It really comes back down to, we got to get out this crab in the barrel mentality. We could all win. It's too much money out there for everybody to win. The Powerball was $2 billion.
$2 billion. I got to tell you my crab in the barrel mentality analogy.
Okay.
All right. And whenever I hear somebody say this, I always say it. So take it how you want to take it. You can eat the meat, throw it away the bones, whatever. So my question when people always say that is, who put the crabs in the barrel? We have to start analyzing who put the crabs in the barrel, because the barrel is significant of death. It's not significant of life. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so, people in the barrel, their job is to escape death, right? And we have to escape that death. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of our conversation today. I'm so thankful to have Andre Broussard come in and talk to us about his companies, talk to us about his philosophies on life and how he approaches life, but more importantly, how he provides opportunities to black men to see themselves in different images. All right. So do me a favor. Like, follow, subscribe to the podcast, No More OGs. I have Neandre's content and all of his information posted below in the show notes. Be sure to give him a follow. Be sure to give him a like. Be sure to give him a subscribe. Support what that brother's doing, because there's not too many people out there creating opportunities like this for people who look like us. All right. That's all I got for you today. No More OGs. I'll see you soon.